Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today I want to talk more about DEC returning to peg. We're going to focus on why I think the Bulldog proposal was good. It's currently failing. You guys may or may not know there was some tension and some tweets that were kind of frustrated from Bulldog saying that he might leave if this fails or if some version of this doesn't pass. I'm not going to make any comment on that in this video, but I will say that I think his proposal was a great idea. We should use the stablecoins in there to buy DEC. In this video, I'm going to talk about that, but I'm also going to talk broadly about why I'm confident DEC returns to peg eventually, because not just this proposal, but other proposals, some by Matt, as well as land and everything else, Soulbound cards being, requiring DEC to burn into them so that they become transferable. There's just a lot of reasons why we can stay optimistic, even if the Bulldog one fails, and it is currently failing. But that's what this one's about today, DEC returning to peg and why I'm optimistic long term. I hope you stick around for it. And before we get into it, I got to say shout out to SPLINTERCOACH.com. $5 a month. They'll track your personalized battle history, and you can learn from that, get better, win more, but also have some fun enjoying the data analysis from their website. Check it out, guys. SPLINTERCOACH.com. Bye for now. This is an interesting time. Like Lamb, there's been June we had all these things that were set out that were supposed to come, that were supposed to be released, and then we ended up not getting it. And it would be neat to hear your opinion on some of that. Like is there disappointment in it? Is it, it is what it is, kind of resigned and accepting it? Or I'd love to almost kick that around with you a little bit. Did you see this, Jim?
I can't even get tribal decks to be working for me.
Oh, look at this. Down 14%. Yesterday it was at 9.7 or something. 9.70. What about tribal decks?
Nah, I got it to work now. We're good.
I gotta see this. Okay, so hang on a second. Maybe let's talk about this then, because this proposal over here, where is it? Oh, that's not it. Did it already go through? Let's see. Passed. So Rift Voucher packs and DEC just passed. Okay, interesting. And there seems to be a lot of justifications for thinking about, a return to DEC, peg for DEC. Rift Watcher packs, I don't know that this is going to be gigantic, but it is like a brick in the wall. Because if you spend 5,000 DEC now, you'll be able to buy, not right now, I don't think. It probably takes time for them to make that happen. Let's go see. But it's one more thing that pushes us towards that. Look at this, 1 day left. Oh man, so many cool things. 1 day left. I'm still in the top 200, which means I'm gonna get one of those titles. But hang on, let's stay focused. Packs, gems. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to buy a Rift Watcher pack right this second for DEC. I suspect it's only later on after they code something or whatever. But that's happening. The proposal from Bulldog talking about enabling the purchase of enabling the purchase of DEC through DAO funding, which is a big deal. Like there's millions of dollars in there. And then did you hear about that, Jim? What he was proposing?
No, I started to pull it up on YouTube, but I didn't know exactly which one I was
going
to be looking at.
So it looks like I'm getting
buy DEC with stables.
Buy DEC with currency in the DAO, and so so then there's he calculated that the funds that were in there that would be capable of being put to work to buy the DEC would be representative of 10% of the existing DEC, which is a crazy huge sum. And then it would be this constant buying pressure, because you wouldn't come out and buy it like all in one lump. You'd do some that would drive the price way to peg and then past peg and so on. So it would be this active process of just creating buying pressure on DEC. I think it seems really, really smart to me. And I meant to do a video on this because I thought it was great, but maybe this will be that video. Because you could just think, if there was added pressure on DEC that just was sustained buying pressure, that over the course of let's say a year, because I'm thinking if you have millions of dollars to buy DC and we get daily liquidity, in the thousands of dollars, right? Like look at this. This is DC markets. We're looking at, there's the pancake swap, Uniswap, and another pancake swap. And you're talking $5,000-$6,000 worth of buying pressure. And then I guess there would be some more on Hive Engine, which isn't listed here. But I'm saying it's not millions of dollars worth of DEC that is selling every day. It's literally hundreds or thousands. And so if you introduce even let's say $10,000 worth of buying pressure every day that comes from the DAO, that's stacking the ownership in the DAO while DEC is below peg, you're theoretically investing in something that I think we should agree, and I certainly agree, will appreciate. Because right now we're in 858 Splintoshis. I truly believe we will reach 1,000, meaning peg, and that would be a profit to the DAO, which is us as owners of that with SPS. So it seems good because it's one, going to be continued buying pressure. It seems good because two, it's going to represent an opportunity to see appreciation on the investment, because right now it's not generating any sizable. I think it's just sitting there, but it's going to, this would support our economy in a sense by creating demand for this thing to get it off the shelves, and ultimately it's an investment in ourselves, in our own ecosystem. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised it's not shown here on the proposals. I thought it was. I thought I just saw it the other day, unless it went through, but I don't think it did. Unless it's in pre-proposal, but I swear I saw it in the actual proposals. I don't want to pull up Bulldog's channel right now, but if somebody has the link for the actual proposal, I'd love to see the wording.
I'm going through some cards right now because I kind of want to get back into the rental market,
Yeah.
even though I know it's not amazing.
Yeah.
But it's still something where, consistent growth and just to sit on some stuff, because I still do have lands as well.
Yeah.
So now I just got to find out what it is I'm buying.
There's, I've been buying some things recently, cards wise. There's been some, I want to check out Tails. Tails said, have you guys seen my video from yesterday or whatever? I haven't.
No.
Go 21 hours ago. Return of the bots. A new proposal is needed. Return of the bots. I'm going to have to watch that one. And everybody watching, you guys should too. I haven't seen it, bud. I like your new thumbnails, pal. They look
pretty nice.
Yeah, they look good.
So much better than those old ones. Holy moly. Let's not even scroll down. We don't want to hurt people's eyes, Let's not scroll.
Yeah, that I don't know what you're referring to there. I'm eager to know now. And look at this, 560 views too. People are definitely. I wonder what your likes and just because of the topic of bots. Man, bots is still fiery. Did you see any of Jim? Did you see any of that 2 days ago or yesterday or something? There was a town hall, but it's not the town hall. It's like where they just hang out and chat.
No, I didn't. I haven't even been on my computer for the last couple weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Too busy with.
I tend to get on here one time a week, and it's Wednesday.
Too busy with real life or what?
Yeah, I just have so much more stuff happening.
Good. I'm getting all kinds of delay here. I don't know what to do about that, but anyways, that's okay. We'll just carry along and keep the conversation rolling. Let's see. Florian one up. Hey guys, why not 1234? Good day. There's about 500k stable coins in the DAO, says Florian. So that would be, I guess, put to work is the vision, I think. It'll be good discussion. Yeah. 500k would let's see, $500,000. If, like I said, if there was even $10,000, that would go fast, wouldn't it? Geez, what is $500,000 when you divide it by 0.00085, which is the current SPS price. Or sorry, DEC price. You're talking 588 million DEC that could theoretically be bought at this price point. But the interesting thing is, if you tried to buy, I bet $10,000 in one day, I bet you moved the market. So you'd have to probably buy like $1,000 on days where it's below 9,00095. That was the threshold that by which he was proposing that we I guess we stop at buying it. So I think it sounds brilliant, and I think the combination of that proposal with the Riftwatcher proposal and change, and even probably Lamb 1.5 looming, and also Matt's proposal talking about how we will burn DEC to get the gladiators and the soulbounds to work land. All of that, to me, that's like in the last week or two, lots of different things. There it is right here. Drop down BUSD. So that's lots of different things over the last week, 2 weeks that have really been, I guess, getting closer and closer or begun, that to me have caused DC to move up over 800 Splintoshies, because it was in the 750 range for a beat. And then yesterday it was around 950 Splintoshies.
Wow.
See, the max purchase price would be, so essentially the vision would be to buy DEC and stop buying it when it gets close to peg, which is so great, because it's going to be a support for our price. It's also going to be an investment for our DAO. The proposal is to two main purposes: one, help DC reach par faster, and two, increase the value of the DAO holdings. Yeah. Plus you could, I don't know if he mentioned this, but I thought while I watched his video, and you guys should too, but I thought if we do this, one thing that people might worry about with a proposal like this would be, are we going to have to sell that in the next bull market on our own heads, in a sense, driving DEC price down when we want it to stay stable? Otherwise, how are we going to access that value, you might think? And that's an interesting critique. And I started asking that question to myself while I was listening to his video. But think about this. Let's say we had, half a billion DEC based on this math, based on 500,000 in stable coins that would be theoretically put to work. And you could take other things in there too. I don't see why you couldn't, if there's other, I might be wrong about this, but I think there's other resources in the DAO aside from just that. Because we have, I think, and so maybe it ends up being more than $500,000 that gets spent. But let's say you had 580, 600 million DC. How do you get rid of those in the future without causing a problem for Splinterlands players who don't want DEC price to fall later? And I think, interestingly, you have to remember that when Splinterlands buys or sells credits, they receive US dollars into their bank account, and they have to then conclude the transaction that later gets completed when you spend those credits. So you come into the market, and what do? You've got $50 worth of credits. You can come in here and you can buy these cars up to $50 worth. And then what happens? Do you pay? Does the seller receive your credits? No. The seller receives DEC that comes from the pockets of Splinterlands to conclude the transaction. So now your credits are gone, and Splinterlands has spent DEC that they already had. So then how do they replenish DEC? Well, they could come to the DAO, especially if we had 600 million or more DEC sitting in there. They could, at times when they need DEC, there could be these deals between the DAO and Splinterlands to buy it, I would assume market price, there'd be some, I don't know how that would exactly work, because when Splinterlands wants to buy DEC, I suspect they move the market. But you know what I mean? There could be a plan where the team comes to us first, the DAO first, to fill their coffers when they need more to deal with their credit closures or whatever. So it seems like a great idea. I sincerely hope it passes, and 6 days left until it passes. And we're up 20%, 124 million yeses. So we're beyond the votes to pass. Sizable approval rating, which is great. Some good comments in here. Florian, when DEC goes up to above par value, SPS burning will start. So it will theoretically never go far above 1,000 Splintoshis ever again for longer than a few hours. I agree with that comment. That's true. If the flywheel, it is super easy to burn SPS for DEC. If you don't know, all you do is you come into the Splinterlands window and you just go convert. So if DEC is above peg, then it makes a lot of sense to come in here and burn SPS. So he's right. There should be once we're at peg, we should really stay there, unless the buying pressure for DEC is not sustainable. That got us to peg in the first place. And so that's where we need to see continuing efforts. We need to see two things. One, a diminishment of the total supply of DEC so that the shelves are not stocked with it. And two, ongoing desire for more of it, which I think we already have. We just need to see the first part, which is the removal of the old DEC off those shelves, all that DEC we accumulated through the SPS airdrop, or through the points, because people were buying it, and remember that drove price up. And then because of the algorithmic inflation of how DEC worked, the game was printing more of it per battle to try and lower the price, but everyone was holding it, not burning it. And therefore we saw this crazy appreciation in DEC and new printing of it. Guys, do me a favor, 18 concurrent viewers, 9 likes, drop that like. Let's see if we can get 25 people in today. In about 20 minutes, we'll do the raffle, and then I want to just keep going for a bit. Probably wrap up at 1 o'clock, guys. And if you guys have comments or questions, I'll continue to check in with the thing, and we'll answer them. Florian carried on from that point, and he said, so because if DEC goes, once it reaches peg, it'll stay there. It won't go above. So Florian says, so I believe the DEC in the DEC inside the DAO would rather be used to pay third-party proposals like external dev work or other costly endeavors. Yeah, it could be, but it feels like, Florian, you're saying that if we put DEC into the DAO by spending, for instance, the stable coins, that there wouldn't be an opportunity for appreciation there. But there is, because we're at 850 Splintoshis, which if we make it to peg is like what, a 15% ish increase, right? So that's not nothing. That's a pretty big, when you're talking, $500,000 and a 15% increase on $500,000. That's pretty juicy. So I think that's the interesting part. Eli making a point about Eli Ross says that would devalue guilds, right? Meaning if gladiators became tradable, that would diminish the need to even be in a guild. And I think this is true. And this is part of why I would hope ultimately that they're not going to go that way. But I get the feeling that they probably will when they make it possible to burn DEC into your gladiator in order to make it work land. Let's pull up. There's a proposal about that too. That's a Matt proposal. What I'm looking for is I want to see Matt's proposal, but I don't think it's not currently up. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is so from 2 days ago. Matt posted this. I'd put forth a proposal for the community of staked SPS holders to require DEC or DECB to be burned in order to allow Soulbound cards to be used as workers on land in the Secret of Pretoria expansion. This would apply to both Soulbound rewards and to Gladiator cards, as well as any new Soulbound cards released in the future. So the cost to manifest a card to allow it to work on land is proposed to be 2 times the collection power of the card, not counting the max level CP bonus. Interesting. Okay, that's good. The 2 times the collection power. Okay. The proposed cost to manifest 1 BCX and max level cards of each rarity and foil are shown in the table below for easy reference. So we're talking at the higher levels. Look at this, like a legendary gold foil, max copy. You're talking 100,000 DEC burnt. See, all the DEC sinks that are already in existence and that are being planned, such as this, are so massive that if we truly use land properly and fully, all the DEC is gone. Then if you add to it turning these, gladiators and soulbounds into transferable cards that can work land. Well, it didn't say transferable. It said that they could work land. You absolutely, we just will have so much deletion of DEC supply. The land staking is not exactly a deletion of DEC, but still, once you stake it into the land so that your monsters can farm that land, it's no longer liquid, meaning it no longer is sellable, and therefore it has less of an impact on the market price of DEC. So there just is so many great things that are already pointing towards DEC returning to par. This does not mean that the cards will become unsoulbound or transferable. There we go. That's an important sentence. So they will not be transferable. This cost will only allow the cards to be used as workers on land. However, it will be applied to the cost to make sure the cards are unsoulbound and transferable in the future when that option is available. Okay. So I'm going to read that second part again. It will be applied to the cost to make the cards unsoulbound and transferable. That tells me that eventually they have a vision to make soulbounds entirely transferable and even gladiators. Don't you think, Jim, when you read that sentence?
It does. They do make it seem like that. Unsoulboundable and transferable. Yeah.
Because it's saying, look, you're going to put DEC into these cards, then they can farm the land.
Oh.
But that doesn't mean that they're going to immediately be transferable. However, where is it? However, the value you put in today to make them farm the land will be applied to the cost to make them cards unsoulbound and transferable in the future when that option is available. When, not if. So it's like you want these cards to farm your land, you got to spend DEC. Eventually, we expect that these cards will be made transferable. It'll be possible for you to do that. That'll have a certain cost. We don't know how much it is. This value that we've talked about here that makes them farm land will be part of that picture, is what I'm hearing. Does that sound your interpretation too?
They do kind of make it seem like this. Or I can see how you're thinking it.
Yeah. Let's read a little bit more here. For example, if in the future cards cost 2 times collection power or less to make them transferable, okay, then any cards for which this amount has been paid to manifest them onto land will automatically become transferable. Okay, so it's like he's saying we don't really know yet what's going to happen in terms of transferability. But we think they're probably going to be transferable, and we're aware that that might be a thing, and that'll have a cost, and maybe that cost will be more than what we're talking about here or less. We don't even know that. But if this cost to make them farm the land is sufficient or big enough, then they'll just be made transferable right away at that point in the future. But it's not on the map. It's not stated clearly what the cost would be. It's just like this could happen, and I think that probably means they do end up being made transferable gladiators. And I think that means Eli's right that this in some sense diminishes what the. Okay, hang on a second. Let's take this topic and let's talk about Eli's comment a little bit closer, because he said if the gladiators are made transferable, that would devalue guilds. And on one hand, I want to say yes, because you could just go out and buy these important cards that are becoming even more important because of the soulbound summoners that allow you to play them. But so on one hand, he's right. But on the other hand, maybe he's wrong, because being in a guild is getting you merits, which is getting you packs, which is getting you glads. And what are those? If they're made transferable, they're literally money in your pocket now. as opposed to currently, you could argue, I argued a minute ago, gladiators are worth something even if they don't have a price. But many people would disagree with me, and they say, no, if it doesn't have a price, it doesn't have a value. And so if they're transferable, if we're reading here that there's a path to make gladiators transferable, doesn't that mean, maybe Jim, I'll ask you, do you think that's adding to your portfolio, right? Like your account has 1,000 of these, 500 of these cards. If they suddenly have a price, then that's good for us, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, to say that it just devalues it, I can kind of see it, but it also makes it to where, these cards that you've been earning, especially if there's ones you don't want to utilize, you can just get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with pulling cards from any other pack.
Mm-hmm.
Cards you don't want, get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or if a card is extremely valuable, now it's time to figure out, do you want that money to increase your collection? Do you want that money to take it out? Do you want to reinvest it into something else completely? It definitely devalues it in terms of you don't have to be in a guild for very long in order to get these cards, but it also makes guilds more valuable because other than getting merits from playing ranked, you're getting a large chunk of merits from being inside of these guild brawls as well.
Yeah.
So you could instantly be earning more than twice as many packs from the guilds.
Yeah.
Because of it.
And if those packs are cards that are tradable, then that's money in your pocket. So right now, guilds are exciting to people who don't really care, who like the SPS and who are interested in getting gladiators. But now if you said, and you get all that, you still get your gladiator cards, you still get SPS. But now also, by the way, we're making a way where your gladiators are potentially going to put money in your pocket. I think you might argue that it doesn't devalue guilds, that it actually draws more participants to guilds because, hey, that's actually another transferable thing, another way that I can gain from my time and attention in the game.
Yep.
And Krozrak again, I can't remember. He goes, Matt did indicate in a town hall that they would at least consider to make Gladius cards transferable eventually, but that was like a year ago. Might happen when the current ones go out of print and a new edition gets released. Dude, I have almost none of these Gladiator cards. It's astonishing how few, and I've been playing at a high level in Splinterlands for a while. It's to me, for them to think through that they would retire these Gladiators is like, it would be the first time in this game where I've had no chance to get the thing that is in front of me. Like, let me show you. Let me go to Splinter Cards. And then we go to tools, I think. Soulbound card monitor. Then we go Infidel. Then we go Gladius. So after all the time that these Gladius cards have existed, like I'm at 18% of my commons. 18. 22% of my rares. 17% of my epics. 25% of my legendaries. If anybody from Splinter Cards is listening, I would love to be able to do this with not just rewards and Gladius, but like every set. Because I know I can go, I don't think I can do that. I don't think Pink Bouncers does that. Peak, Jarvie, if you're listening, like what if when I click on my cards and I go over to Alpha, it said up here, like total value, but it said like, I have 17% commons of the Alphas, etc. That'd be really neat to see because I keep coming back to the Splinter Cards and seeing this because it's interesting to me, and especially with the rewards. When you compare the Gladius to the rewards, you're like, wow. Not loading, but my rewards are far more complete. 64, 52, 37, 39. So 60 to 40% of my rewards are done, but like less than 25% of my Gladius are done. So if they change it now and they get a whole new list of Gladiators, which I'd love to see. I would love that. But man, some of these cards I want a max level Crash bad. That card's awesome. So that I would be both frustrated and excited if they did that. Look at this card. It's crazy. 400 BCX of this thing, and you get swiftness with 8 speed, Bloodlust, which seems irrelevant, but it's not, because you get Thorns and you get Return Fire, and you could conceivably put what else could you do there? You could play this. You could use a Weapons Trainer to give this an attack of some nature. Can you imagine how out of control this thing would be for 8 speed?
Yep.
9 speed with swiftness, and then bring any other speed. Bring a blind on your team. Bring another swiftness or a slow on your team, or give it one attack, and suddenly it's getting some kills, and then the Bloodlust is proccing to give you more speed. It's other than magic, it's like it just is. You just don't hit this thing.
And for 4 mana, dude, like it's nuts.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
So I like these cards a lot. I want more of them, and yet I would be pumped if they moved away and gave us a new set of them. I guess I want, like everybody else, I want all of the cards available to me, and I want all the cards that are coming. And somehow I want them to be super affordable and yet deeply valuable, which is, it's that's the problem.
Sounds like you're hoping for a unicorn.
That's right. Let's read a couple more comments.
Exist.
Oh, what's that, Jim?
I said, and those don't exist.
Let's read a few more comments, and then in about 5 minutes we'll raffle off a plot of land to somebody. Hopefully they end up being here today. That'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
If the person who receives the plot of land is somebody that I know, super well, like it's one of the people that supports my channel, then what I'm gonna do is I'd love it if they're here. I'm gonna send it right now. If it's one of the people that's on my that I know super well, and they're like support the YouTube channel, I think what I want to do is I want to Discord chat with them, because I want to know I want to see which plot they would even prefer, if there's one or another, because I'm giving away a common plot, but maybe there's different areas that would be preferable, and they're pretty much all the same to me. But if it's one of the people that I don't know so well, I then need to get their actual in-game name before I could send it anyways. So there may end up not being like a final send in this video. We will see. But whoever we draw, the one draw will go to that person, and I will make sure that they receive that plot of land. And I'll probably separate. I will record that just because people will want to see, like, hey, Dwayne sent it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read a couple more comments. Might happen when the Monsieur Caruso, cheap to buy and valuable at the moment I bought it. Sounds totally doable to me. I wonder if you're referring to cheap to buy and valuable at the moment I bought it. Sounds totally doable to me. I think it's kind of like just a funny comment, because it's like you want it to be super cheap and yet deeply valuable. Yeah. Luke, has anyone noticed there is a Gladius card section in the market, meaning they will be tradable at one point? I think that's, somebody pointed that out earlier. If you convert SPS to DEC, says Luke, through that window, you lose value rather than the Hive engine market. Luke, you're right. But that's only because DEC is below peg. So just quickly, if you come in here and you go to convert, and let's say you burn, let's say, okay, what's SPS price? Fuck, 1.6 pennies. Yeah, exactly, 1.6 cents. So let's go 100 divided by 0.0. So if I took 6,200 SPS, that's worth $100 right now. And if I went into here, 6,250. So I should theoretically, this is $100 worth of SPS. I should get exactly 100,000, but I'm not. And you're right. There's a loss happening because the market price of DEC is lower than it should be. But when DEC is at peg, the payout is going to be equal. That's how that would work. And if DEC went above peg, for a short period of time, you could see people sell their SPS to create, or to burn the SPS to generate DEC, so that they could then go to the marketplace like you're describing and sell it for a profit. That's the crazy thing. That's the opportunity available. You could create DEC by burning SPS and then sell it to take advantage of a if the price goes above peg. That's why the flywheel can work, and that's why that earlier comment said DEC, once it's at peg, will stay at peg, because if it pops above, people will do what I just said, create DEC and sell into that buying pressure. Sales goes, a sync only works if it's actually used, e.g. vouchers with pack purchases that aren't purchased, or DEC for power stones that aren't sold or players don't have access to. Yeah, you're right. When we talk about Tales from the Cryptmancer is referring to, he says a sync only works if it's used, meaning syncs for DEC, syncs for SPS, for vouchers to reach higher prices. The syncs that we create that theoretically remove DEC from circulation are only as effective as our intrigue or interest in those offers. So for instance, when we talk about you can buy Riftwatcher packs, it doesn't, with DEC, it doesn't matter if nobody wants Riftwatcher packs.